welcome back. I feel like we have exhausted everything from Route 66. We have seen all that there is to see at this moment. So let's go ahead and move to a classier establishment, the Jackalope. I do not know what characters go with which location, so this is going to be a fun little surprise. I decided to head out to the pub. The atmosphere and the people were quiet. It almost felt like stepping into the past. Maybe just because there wasn't a single TV. Let's order some drinks. Well, if I'm here, I might as well drink. There wasn't much else to do. I ordered a few drinks and sat by myself. Isn't this where, Vincent met, I believe the character was Lawrence? So does that mean I'm gonna meet Lawrence here? Surprisingly, I wasn't bored. The dim lights and quiet conversation of the other patrons was soothing. I lost track of time and began to doze off a bit. I fell asleep in the middle of this pub? I fell asleep. I looked around quickly. The bar was empty. They just let me sleep this whole time? Like I fell asleep and they were just like, just leave her. It's fine. Or almost empty. There was one man left in the corner, hunched over a drink. How long was I asleep? Maybe he knows what time it is. I got up and approached the man. I'm sorry to bug you, but do you know what time it is? Do I not have a cell phone? Oh. Yep. There he is. It's almost closing time. It's 1:45. He seemed like he was preoccupied with something else. Are you good, bro? What? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just waiting for my friend. Is it Vincent? I only wondered about his friend for a moment. A much shorter guy. It's Ren. What is up, Ren? A much shorter guy came out of the bathroom looking very cheerful. So is this supposed to be, I mean, I'm sure we'll find out, but is this supposed to be before or after the events of Boyfriend to Death 1? Because obviously he does not have a collar on. So did he like escape? Or is this before he got kidnapped? I guess we'll find out. All right, Lawrence, let's... Oh, there's someone else here? How'd they not notice me? Just passed out in the middle of the tables. I smiled awkwardly at the redhead. I thought I caught a flash of panic on his face before he spoke again. Well, my name is Ren. Fuck off, Ren. It's nice to meet you. Get fucked, Ren. He looked at me expectantly. Oh, my name is Cece. It's nice to meet you too. We all looked at each other for a moment. This is so awkward. What was up with these two? Are we good? Everything's great. Hey, I know. I can get us around before it closes. Oh, He trotted off to the bartender before I could say anything. Then Lawrence followed him. If I was actually in this situation, I'd be like, while they're at the bar, just like, this is such an awkward situation and it's making me uncomfortable. So I'm good, thanks. I stared after them, confused about the whole situation. Ren must be older than he looks since the bartender is serving him. I sat down at their table and kept watching. They were talking to each other quickly and quietly. It almost looked like they were arguing, but then they both returned and smiled. Lawrence set the drinks down in front of each of us. One more drink for the night. I can take a drink from their drinks? Oh, because mine's probably spiked, right? All right, well, let's go into this as if we did not know that there are horrifying things that are about to happen to us, and take a drink from our own drink. Thanks, lads. I reached for the drink Lawrence set in front of me. I took a sip. It was a rum and coke, a comforting drink. I love rum and coke. I relaxed a bit as I finished it. I looked across the table at my new companions. Lawrence didn't touch his drink. Ren started to look more worried. It's really late. I think I should leave. Wait, you're leaving? Sorry. Ren ran out the door. Hey, wait! Then Lawrence ran after him. I stood there, baffled. Then I shook my head. Those two are really none of my business, and I really should be heading home. I grabbed my coat and strolled out of the pub into the crisp night air. All right, where are you fuckers hiding? Lawrence and Ren were nowhere in sight. Well, that was weird. I started walking down the sidewalk and felt something tap my shoulder. Here it is. I jumped, startled, and turned around. Hey, buddy. What's up? You startled me. He seemed to be struggling with what to say. Ren's path split from mine. That's so dramatic. What are you talking about? Didn't Ren just leave because it's so late? Ren was different. I'm sorry. My apology didn't seem to calm him down. Whoa! He took a swing at me! What the fuck, bro? His fist connected with the bricks where my head used to be. Ugh! Fuck off, Lawrence! I started running down the street away from him. This guy is nuts! I ran as fast as I could. The cold night air began to sting in my lungs. I didn't think I could hear him following. I looked ahead and saw an alley to the right. Keep running. I kept running past the alley. I don't want to get cornered. I slowed slightly to take a look over my shoulder. What? I felt his whole body weight slam into me from behind as I hit the ground. I guess it didn't even fucking matter. My head cracked on the sidewalk and I fought to stay awake. I could feel him panting with effort on top of me. Oh no. Are you okay? Am I okay? What do you care about my well-being? You literally tried to punch me in the head. My first sensation was panic and dread. I froze, not wanting to move or open my eyes until I could recall what just happened. The next thing I noticed was the smell. Earthy, warm, and something sickly sweet. I tried to identify the familiar smell as I became aware of some sounds. I could hear shuffling and light scrapes of metal on wood. It's okay, I'll fix it. I slowly opened my eyes. Okay, so he's like a plant guy. Where am I? Ah, you! Yes, me! You brought me here! I gulped and stared at him. Where? My eyes darted around the room. I liked that. Some sort of studio apartment. I feel like this path is really interactive and got a lot of stuff going on with it. I like it so far. Some sort of studio apartment. There were plants everywhere. Okay, you're probably feeling a little... I tried to move. I couldn't. Hey, calm down. You calm down. I looked down and saw my arms and legs were tightly taped to a wooden chair. I started to breathe faster and looked back to him. I can't explain this. I would sure hope so. Something about this guy seemed unstable. Yeah, I'd say so. Let him explain. I nodded slowly, willing him to continue. Well, look, things got a little out of hand. A little. He paused, thinking. I've been talking to Ren for a couple weeks. You know, on the internet. So I was nervous. He started to fidget. And then you showed up. And Ren left. And... I listened quietly, but he trailed off. I shifted uncomfortably, feeling more nervous. And now you're here. I couldn't just leave you there. You could have taken me to a hospital. Like, you didn't even have to go in. Just drop me off on the fucking curb right outside. Just like, walk off. Vincent did it. I pulled slowly at the tape around my wrist, beginning to sweat. He looked away. I should never leave. It's not worth it. All I found was another problem. Again. You tackled me onto the sidewalk. I was minding my own business. I was going home, and you just started fighting me out of nowhere. Yeah, you gotta let me go, homie. I tried to speak with some authority. You can't just keep me here. If you let me go now, I won't even tell anyone. It'll be like it never happened. You haven't even done anything serious yet. I paused and looked at him. No, it won't. Nothing is ever the same. Time won't stop, and I can't stop. He picked up the roll of duct tape on the table. You can stop. Listen to... He tore off a piece and placed it gently over my mouth. I tried to scream through it as he tore off another piece. People are so delicate. He smoothed the tape over my nose. Oh no. I looked at him helplessly, panicking and unable to breathe. I barely need to touch you to take away what you need to survive. I struggled as hard as I could, but I was starting to feel dizzy. My guy, come on. A little piece of tape, and you'll wither in front of me. I slumped forward, unable to struggle anymore. I started to pass out. I was shocked back to myself as he tore the tape from my face. I wheezed as I took in deep breaths. So you'll just do as I say for now. I fucking guess, homie. He paused and took a deep breath. Ugh. He began to pace around his apartment. You... What am I gonna do with you? Let me go. Just let me go. Into the night. It's fine. It's getting early. I should just rest. I can't think straight right now. I found myself wondering what time it was. The sun was rising, but I was too frightened to feel tired. You're probably tired too. You're probably diurnal, right? That means you're active during the day and you sleep at night. I kept you up all night. I'll just make you some tea to help you sleep. No, I'm okay. No, thank you. I'm sure I can fall asleep myself. Thank you for the offer, though. I tried to sound as polite as I could. Oh, fuck. I was trying to be polite. I was nice about it. You should drink it. It seemed less like a suggestion and more like a warning. No, I certainly wasn't going to drink any tea this guy gave me. I'm not going to drink anything. He visibly tensed up. I mean, we know I'm gonna die, so get it out of the way. I won't make you sleep. Good, He gave up on talking, threw his sweater and shirt off, and climbed into his bed. I looked down. I sat in silence, only broken by his soft breathing, the quiet humidifier in the room, and the random muffled thumps and shouts of the other tenants in this building. I realized despairingly that even my own cries for help would probably be ignored in a noisy place like this. I suppose my only options are to sleep or try to get out of this chair. We're gonna get out of this chair. I pulled at the tape around my wrists. I tried to be quiet, but the tape was so tight. It didn't feel like it was budging at all. Keep going. I needed to keep trying, yes. I bit my lip and pulled hard against the tape. I froze when I heard Lawrence turn over. My heart was pounding. I tugged my arm with an involuntary grunt. Lawrence made a soft sound in bed. I froze again, sweat beading down my face. Okay, get out, but do it quietly, please. I steeled myself. I don't have a choice. I wrenched my arm as hard as I could, feeling a release. However, my blood ran cold as I realized the tape made a loud, ripping sound. Uh-oh. No. I looked down to my free arm in a panic. Should I try and replace the tape? But I only have one hand free. My dilemma was interrupted by a hand slamming down on my wrist with a vice-like grip. I looked up with a strained yelp. It's the middle of the day. I wanted to say something, apologize, anything. But my brain wasn't forming words. I was wincing. He was a lot stronger than he first appeared to be. He squeezed harder for a moment before letting go. These are a problem. He turned to dig around. Before I could find my voice to ask what he was doing, he turned back to me. What are you gonna do with that? No. He squinted coldly at me for a moment before retrieving his tape and a small cloth. This was all a mistake. I tried to yell, but I was cut off by him shoving the cloth into my mouth and roughly slapping a piece of tape over it. He stopped to look over my panicking form, seeming to calm down slightly. I tried to shriek as he held down my free arm and positioned the saw just below my elbow. He meant my arms, not the tape. Son of a bitch. The scene became blurry as tears filled my eyes and he made the first stroke, tearing through my skin. I screamed uselessly into the makeshift gag, trying to tear my arm from his grip. He held me down firmly and worked on my arm quickly. I felt like I was choking, struggling to breathe. I began to feel dizzy as I watched his muscles tense from the effort of sawing through my bone. I realized in a haze of blinding pain that he was holding my severed arm. He placed it gently on the ground and looked back to me in my eyes. "You're in pain." He said it like it was describing some small miracle of nature, like finding a butterfly's cocoon. I looked up at him dully, trying to move my hand and only feeling pain. "I know it hurts now." He moved and positioned the saw over my remaining arm. But that's just natural. My body managed somehow to renew its panic as he moved the saw again. I helplessly shuddered and sobbed as he tore through the flesh. I felt a small wave of relief as I began to go numb. He held my other arm, my blood spattered all over his body. "Ugh, you're dripping. Fuck off." Am I? My arms were cold. My arms. "I'll take the rest of you to somewhere pretty. Thanks. That sounds nice. I guess." I felt my head drop. "I'll find you again. In the dark." Didn't like that. Okay, so this time I can take a drink of someone else's drink. So I kind of want to see what happens. I reached across the table and took the drink Lawrence set in front of Ren. Oh! I took a sip. It was a rum and coke. Well, I guess we all got rum and coke. Uh-huh. So it seems like it was all the same. So I'm sure Ren just wanted to get home. And I'm going home too. Dodge! Okay, let's see if I can find somewhere else to go. Let's go left. I ran across the street. Son of a bitch! Is that Vincent? Didn't see you there. I wanted to yell in surprise, but I couldn't seem to move or talk. And you made a real mess. I noticed my blood glinting on his bike before everything went cold and dark. You didn't look both ways. Fuck. So this time I asked Lawrence if he was okay, because it seems like Lawrence is the one that's going to be taking me. So maybe I can, like, get his affection up. Lawrence looked even more nervous, but Ren flashed a smile. "Hey, I know. Yep, let's get around. And then I'll take a drink of Lawrence's drink. Rum and coke." Okay, so I guess... Wait. I felt a pang of dizziness for a moment. What does that mean? Did he spike his own drink? I veered into the alleyway and pressed my back against the wall. I felt another wave of dizziness. What's wrong with me? My vision blurred and I began to feel sick. He spiked his own drink. Or Ren spiked his drink. I couldn't move. I couldn't even keep my eyes open. Holy shit, did Ren spike his drink? Okay, so let's ask him what will be easy. You! I gulped and stared at him. Where? Okay, yeah. So let's just let him explain, because I knew that that wouldn't have last time. I mean, I guess I don't have to be a problem. He paused. What? I can be your friend instead. Yeah, let's play to his emotional side. Let's try to trick him. I don't think that's a good idea. I had to think of something to convince him. I can see you like plants. He paused and glanced around at the ferns and potted flowers in his apartment. I guess. You guess. The flowers are really pretty. Oh, no, that was not the right one. Lawrence scoffed. They're pretty? He looked over at some of his flowers. Flowers are liars. What? I must have given him a questioning expression because he looked at me and then explained further. They're a big, colorful display, made to trick insects into helping them reproduce, or feeding them. They're not honest about what they want. Being attractive to get their way. Kind of like you. What do you mean, kind of like me? Wait. You think I'm pretty? Well, that's not what I... Never mind. Ah, you think I'm cute. He paused and took a deep breath. He began to pace around his apartment. Okay, yeah. It's okay. It's okay that you kept me up all night. It's fine. We're friends. We're friends. It's all right. I don't mind. It's okay. Oh, I'll just make you some tea to help you sleep. Oh, thank you so much for your poison tea. He already had me taped to a chair. What was the point of refusing? Thank you. He started moving somewhere behind me to make the tea. I strained to see what he was doing, but I couldn't turn my head enough. I could only try to relax as I heard him quietly clinking objects out of my view. After waiting in silence, looking at his plants and hearing some kind of humidifier in the room, I began to feel genuinely tired. It should be cool enough now. He returned and glanced at my arms, still taped to the chair. Oh. He leaned forward and brought the cup of tea to my lips gently. It was very warm and tasted unfamiliar, but not bad. I tried to drink it fairly quickly, but I began to feel a bit strange about halfway through. What is this? It's proof. It doesn't take much to change everything. What? This wasn't any normal tea. Well, we knew that. We knew that was going to happen. As I was about to pass out, I finally recognized that sickly sweet smell. It was him. Ew. It smelled like something rotting. Ew! That's disgusting. My head was pounding, and it took a moment to register my own dry mouth. I slowly opened my eyes. I had trouble focusing for a moment. I couldn't get my head to feel right. You're awake. What is happening, my guy? I jolted upright in the chair. How long was he watching me? You're beautiful. Thanks. I felt my cheeks redden, shocked. I thought you were mad that I was cute, though. Like, you were like, you're just a liar. You're just pretty so you can lie to people. What? His fingers trailed down my neck as he ignored my question. Gross. I wasn't looking properly before. You were asleep for a long time. And I'm sure I was looking super graceful, tied up in my chair, just like drugged out of my mind. He touched the back of my neck. I watched as he picked up something from the table and moved quickly behind me. What are you doing? I felt something cold and sharp touch the nape of my neck. My voice rose in panic as I repeated myself. What are you doing? Stop. Oh, no. I love the curve. I whimpered as the sharp pain increased. Of your spine. I desperately tried to look at him. I cried out as the movement hurt my neck more. He sighed happily as I felt something warm run down my back. Please, Laura. He placed one hand over my mouth, muffling the rest of my begging. I groaned into his hand as he cut further down from the back of my neck to between my shoulder blades. What the fuck? Why? Why? I almost took in a whole breath of relief before I felt him push a finger into the opening. Why? Why do they always do that? They always like to just get their little fingers in. It's gross. His grip tightened and I screamed behind his hand as he slid his finger down the open wound on my neck. I was shaking and blood was running down my back now. I could feel it soaking my shirt. I want to keep it. Don't. Please don't. He breathed softly right next to my ear and moved his hands to rub his fingers around my back to my collar. I imagined it must look like I was wearing a necklace out of my own blood now. He stepped back into my view and I gulped, beginning to feel lightheaded. I can't let you go. He leaned in closer. You understand, right? No. No, I don't understand. You can't just keep me here like this. I pulled at the tape around my arms, beginning to panic. He ignored my struggling and stayed close. That's not true. I can keep you here. I could do anything to you. He placed his hand on my knee, but it did nothing to reassure me. Your thread is mine. That's what makes this so beautiful. Ugh, you're so brittle now. And temporary. I glared up at him, trying to keep the tears at the corner of my eyes from falling. I couldn't help but notice in the bar the way you came up to me. Confident, normal. Despite all the things in this world fighting and dying in chaos. I just wanted to know what time it was. Looking at you now with your pretty face, even when you're crying. I envy you. I balked as he sighed wistfully. I wish I could peel your skin away and crawl inside it. Please don't. My terror and frustration boiled up. What kind of person does these things? What kind of monster? What are you? I almost shouted the question, desperately. I looked up at him and was surprised to see a hurt expression. What am I? It's always what? He spoke bitterly. Well, what do you think I am? I jumped at him, suddenly raising his voice. Bro, are you crying? I mean, if anybody should be crying, it's not you. He lunged forward and grabbed my arms. What? A vampire? A witch? Some sort of necromancer? I've heard it all before. I just looked at him, mouth closed. I didn't want to aggravate him anymore. He slumped down and released my arms. I mean, it doesn't matter because this bitch is about to die. Maybe I am a monster. Yeah. I'm sorry. He gripped my chin harshly. Of course you are. I tried to sputter out more apologies as he ran his other hand along my face and down my neck. They're always sorry. I gasped as he suddenly pushed me backwards. The chair tipped back and I hit the floor with a thud that knocked the wind out of me. After I make them sorry. Please don't. He slammed a heel down on my chest with full force. I felt something in my chest break. I couldn't breathe. I convulsed on the floor, still bound to the chair, tears streaming down my face. He watched me for a moment without a shred of pity. I gathered up a tiny bit of air into my lungs despite how agonizing the effort was, and I used it. You are a monster. This time the blow came down on my neck. That was a good use of our last breath. I fully support that, yes. Okay, so this time I did not drink the spiked drink. I just drank my own drink. And then we're gonna try the alley and see what horrible way he catches me that time. I veered into the alleyway and pressed my back against the wall. I think I lost him. I gasped as he whipped around the corner. Stop! His hand shot up and grabbed my face. He pulled back and slammed my head into the cement behind it. I crumpled to the ground as my vision went dark. Okay, there we go. like gardening. I really don't. I can't keep anything alive to save my life. I've tried. I just get them, and then the day after, I forget they exist. Really? No. He glanced around at all of his plants. It's just something I do to keep busy. I mean, I need to have something to think about. And I like taking care of them. He began to look a little happier. They're delicate. I like the way they need me. That's why I like it too. Sure, friend, I get it. He lit up. You understand? Ah, it's kind of nice to meet someone that, well, you know. He trailed off. He paused and took a deep breath. He began to pace around. Okay. It's fine. But I'm okay on the tea. I'm really okay. I'm fine. It's all right. I don't want your tea. I'll just go to sleep. My exhaustion and the quiet surroundings were getting to me. I eventually let my head fall to my chest. I dropped into a restless sleep. I slowly opened my eyes. You're awake. I sure am awake. Now what? Oh, poop. He's still trying to keep me and he cut my neck. At least let me use the bathroom and then maybe I could get up and run out of here. I did want to try and get away, but it was also true. I guess it's okay. My eyes widened. That really worked? I waited patiently as he pulled out a small knife. I'm going to cut the tape. Then, you can use the bathroom. And after, just sit back in the chair. Got it? I nodded eagerly. Of course. Yes. You got it, man. He silently cut through the tape. There. Go ahead. I hoisted myself up shakily. He was watching me carefully, still holding that knife. I slipped into the small dark bathroom and closed the door. And then flicked on the light. God, there's so many plants everywhere. Yeah, even more plants. It was so warm and musty. Ew. I sighed, gathering my thoughts. Okay. Let's lock the door. The door locks from the inside. Maybe I can wait him out. I tried to turn the lock carefully, but it still made a loud click. My heart was pounding. Cece? I kept holding the doorknob, beginning to sweat. I heard his footsteps. I gasped as the door shook in my grip. Come out, Cece. No, I can't give in. I can wait him out. I have water. I'll be fine. I turned around and pressed my back to the door. Whoa, he banging. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Oh, no. Did he die? Does he just die? I heard a loud crack and was only aware for a second that I was flying forward, my head colliding with the edge of the tub. Uh-oh. I couldn't move. I didn't want to open my eyes. Rushing water. Water? Is he gonna drown me? Son of a bitch. I couldn't breathe. What's happening? I had tried fighting, clawing. I could tell I was underwater. But Lawrence's iron grip tightened around my throat was barely letting it in my windpipe. The last few bubbles I had escaped my lips as my thrashing grew weaker. No. My chest burned as I heaved, trying desperately to suck in the water around me. I couldn't do anything. Okay, so don't lock the door. Let's look around the room. I looked around the bathroom. I couldn't find anything even close to a weapon. There were no windows either. There's no way out. I checked the medicine cabinet. Only a whole bunch of jars and bowls filled with various powders and liquids. I rolled my shoulders and hissed in pain. Maybe there was something in here that can help. Everything looked homemade. Barely anything was labeled, and the few things that had labels were cryptically scrawled. I eventually picked out two that looked promising. One was a clear liquid in a bottle labeled numb. The other was a thick, syrupy amber liquid in a jar labeled for pain. I'm going to drink it? I would have assumed that you just put it on. Like, I thought you would just put it on the cut. I wouldn't have drank this. Let's do it. Let's just be a little reckless. I narrowed my eyes at the bottle. If it hurts less, I can think more clearly. If I can think clearly, maybe I can make it out of here. I popped the top off the bottle, half expecting it to be like water. I was surprised by a strong, flowery fragrance. Of course, there's no dosage instructions. Pretty much everything for adults is like a tablespoon, though, right? Yeah, I would have done like a mouthful. I gathered my courage and took a small sip. It didn't have much of a flavor, but after a surprisingly short few minutes, my pain began to subside. Sweet! I let out a triumphant breath. This feels great! Even better than before. I put the bottle down sloppily and wobbled on my feet. I looked at the door. So I wonder what happens if we lock the door, but then let him back in. Like, just do the give up. I can't do this! I'm coming out! I heard him step away from the door. He didn't say anything. I squeezed my eyes shut and unlocked the door. I stepped out slowly, looking around. Where? Oh! Ah! He twisted my arm behind me and pinned me to the wall. Where was he hiding? It's a studio apartment. Lauren, quiet. He pressed his body against mine harshly, wrenching my arm painfully. I wheezed softly, unable to take a breath or speak. My struggle was only punctuated by his ragged breathing. It was right next to my ear and my neck. I kept still, hoping he'd calm down. He began to pull away. I took in a deep breath. He's gonna punch me. Yep, only to have it knocked out of me by a sharp blow to my ribs. I've played enough to know when I'm about to get smacked. I crumpled to the floor, clutching my side. My mind was screaming at me to apologize. I croaked out a sob. I opened my eyes for just long enough to see him readying a kick. It slammed into me and smashed me into the wall. I couldn't make a sound. I couldn't move. All I had was pain and a struggle to breathe. I felt the warmth of tears streaking down my face. I looked up at him. Come on, man. You're mine now. Fuck off. He pressed his foot to my neck, slowly pushing me down to the floor. Do you understand? I couldn't get the words out. I couldn't breathe. I tried nodding desperately. He sighed with relief. He stepped back and grabbed my arm to help me stand. Why was he being so gentle now? Yeah, like, I know you're not. It's not a secret. You're a dickhead. I don't understand this whole shy, cowardly, meek mask that you've got going on. He led me back to the chair. I didn't fight him. I sat, and he bent to bind my legs to the chair. There. I sat there in shock, breathing hard. I barely noticed him moving until he placed a large metal bucket in front of me. What's that? I need to get your blood out. No, I need that in, please. It won't hurt. Yes, it will. Don't fucking lie to me. I've got some medicine. Drugs, I guess. Just some tea. And you won't feel a thing. I don't want that. No thanks. I'm not drinking anything you give me. I pushed away from him as hard as I could in the chair. Well, fine. I guess it doesn't matter if it hurts. He held the knife he cut my tape with, turning it over a bit. I was watching the blade when he gripped my wrist tightly. He licked his lips absent-mindedly as he gently moved his thumb over my wrist. He was feeling me and concentrating. Then suddenly, he stopped and lowered the knife to my skin. What am I gonna do, though? Both of my arms are taped to this chair. Like, even if I get the knife, what am I gonna do with it? Let's find out. I reflexively grabbed for the knife. What? I managed to take it from his hands. We locked eyes, both of us calculating the situation. He stepped back out of my reach. This fucking chair. Oh. I bent down quickly to cut the tape around my legs. My arms weren't taped, just my legs. I got through one as quickly as I could when I felt my head snap back up, pulled by my hair. Oh no. My words were stopped by the large blade of garden shears on my neck. Drop it. No! I held the knife tightly and braced myself to swipe at him. He held my head back still as blood poured from my throat and mouth. Fuck. Okay, we're gonna try again. So if we drop it, I wonder what he does. I dropped his weapon, squeezing my eyes shut in defeat. He pressed the shears against my throat as a last warning before lowering them and picking up the knife. He retaped my leg as I watched. For a moment, I wondered if I had made the wrong choice, but I didn't have time to think about it for long. We didn't. He went right back to work. He pressed the knife back to my wrist. Just relax. I froze. He pressed the knife through my skin. I jerked and gasped as pain shot up my arm. His grip tightened painfully around my wrist. Shh. You chose to feel this. The rest of my body shook, but he held my arm perfectly still and kept raking the knife through my flesh. It hurt like fire and I squirmed uselessly, but I couldn't stop watching. He was breathing slowly and evenly as he carefully pulled the blade along my largest vein. You're gonna kill me! He paid no attention to my whimpers or the tears streaming down my face. I saw my blood well up over my shaking wrist, then flow into the bucket below. I realized I was shivering. I felt so cold and weak. My head slumped down. I couldn't keep my eyes open. Cece? His voice sounded so far away. What did you think was going to happen? And the cold was starting to feel comfortable. I'll just rest for a bit. Cold. I'm cold again. What? I can't move. I used my tiny amount of strength to look around myself. What is happening? No. God, no. Somebody. I was naked, tied. Rope and bones. Something's bones all over me. Why? I could hardly struggle. I was too weak. I shivered against the tree I was bound to. Something. No. Many somethings. Uh-oh. He'd painted lines all over me. Something sweet and sticky. Insects were all over it, crawling. Gross. Is it honey? Biting. I used what little strength I had left trying to scream. No human came. Only more scavengers. What the fuck? Was that the woods that was in The Price of Flesh? Where there was like a pond and there was bones in the pond and then there was a bone man with antlers that was fucking creepy as shit. Is that Lawrence? Okay, I'll have to go back through and look. I know you guys were telling me all of the Easter eggs, but I didn't know who these characters were when you were doing that. So I'm gonna go back and look. Let's see what's in the for pain jar. I squinted at the jar. Well, I have to do something. It really hurts. I shakily pried open the jar. It says it's for pain. Pretty self-explanatory. It smells sweet. Is this just honey? Not seeing a spoon or anything, I just tilted the jar to my lips. I'm sure it's... Ugh. I coughed and gripped the sink. It tastes awful. I grimaced and concentrated on swallowing the thick and sticky substance. Ugh. I put the jar down and waited for something to happen. After a few moments, my injury started to feel... I leaned forward. It hurts. Ugh. For pain, like to have more pain, maybe? I shuddered and suppressed a whimper. It hurts more. I slumped against the door as the deep, dull pain spread to the rest of my body. Fuck. God damn it. Let's freshen up. Well, as long as I'm here. I used the bathroom and washed up. It helped me feel a little better, at least. Alright, nothing good comes from locking the door, so we'll just leave. I guess I better go back out there. I don't want to make him angry, and there doesn't seem to be a better choice. I chewed my lip as I held the doorknob. There's no better choice. I creaked the door open and came out meekly. He was standing between me and the door out to the apartment. I looked at the chair, my prison, and I sat down. Oh, our health is kind of low. I wonder if we'll survive the bloodletting. Thanks for doing what I said. Oh, you're welcome, whatever. He mumbled something very quietly about tape. Oh. He held up his roll of duct tape. I felt like I might be getting somewhere on his good side, so I held my arms to the arms of the chair for him. He paused for a moment. He wrapped the tape around my arms. He seemed to be careful to do it gently. Oh, thanks. Once he was done, he leaned back and looked away. I need to go out now. I'll be back later. So I guess, maybe just rest, okay? I nodded to him, but I don't think he even saw me. I will not be resting. He moved quickly to leave the apartment. I couldn't see him leave behind me. I sat in the chair alone in the relative silence again. Just the sound of muffled neighbors, distant car horns, and that soft hissing of the humidifier. I rested my eyes and slipped into a deep sleep. I thought I was going to have the chance to... Oh, no. It's so dark. I can barely see. I can't walk. Am I outside? I can't remember anything. I can't... Outside. It's wrong. Something told me that being outside should feel like freedom. It's worse than feeling trapped. I don't feel like I'm being buried or drowning. Just that this nothing is all there is. All there ever will be. All there ever was. That is absolutely Lawrence in The Price of Flesh. Oh my gosh, absolutely. I slowly raised my aching head. I tried to move my limbs and found I was fully taped down again. Fuck. He's asleep. I've taken a few deep breaths and gathered my thoughts. What should I do? See, so our affection with him is decent right now. So I'm wondering if we end up struggling, if he'll end up chopping our arms off. But maybe we should just rest and see what other horrors are in store for us. There's no point in struggling now. I'm much too tired anyway. I tried to relax and forget about the nightmares. I tried to forget about this nightmare too. I eventually passed out again. I woke up with a start. You gotta fix your shirt, man. I know you know how to button a shirt. Deja vu. I looked down and groaned. My head felt so fuzzy. I don't usually like being close to anybody. A long silence stretched out as he looked down at the ground. He suddenly took a step closer, startling me. You're different. You draw me in. He was staring at me so intently I couldn't look away. I'm different because I've done everything he's fucking asked so far. It's not that I'm exciting, it's that I'm obedient. And he's a man. Ugh. He was staring at me so intently I couldn't look away. Until I felt a soft touch on my knee. Don't fucking touch me. He was gently tracing some shape on my leg. Lawrence? I whispered cautiously. He seemed to be focusing intently on whatever he was doing. You draw me in. he repeated himself. Like a moth. I gasped as he moved again, sitting on my lap and straddling me in the chair. What? He was heavy on my legs, but I didn't want to make a sound. I didn't want to interrupt him for some reason. All this time I'd been trapped here. He'd never touched me like this, and I hate it. I stared in disbelief as he pressed himself against me. I could hear his heavier breathing. I wondered to myself if I should struggle or make some sort of sound. The decision was made for me as I felt his hand on the back of my head and I squeaked involuntarily. He was petting me, running his fingers through my hair. My guy, I'm not Vincent. You don't have to do all that. You're soft. Thanks. He lowered his head right next to mine to whisper in my ear. Wait, is he saying my hair is soft or that I'm soft? Because one is a compliment. Warm and soft. His hand crept under my shirt and stopped to lay flat against my chest. You're pulsing under your shell. Shell? Chrysalis. He let out a quiet sigh and rubbed his face into the crook of my neck. I shivered slightly at the feeling of his light stubble. I need to be closer. Oh God, he's gonna cut me open. My brows furrowed slightly. How could he possibly? I yelped loudly in shock as I felt a sharp point below his hand on my chest. I panicked and tried to look down, but he was still pressed against me. I began to struggle and tried to ask what he was doing. But by the time I opened my mouth, the pain on my stomach became so much more intense and I could only let out a panicked scream. He leaned back quickly and clamped a hand over my mouth. You have to be quiet. I was finally able to look down. I made another muffled whimper of horror as I saw the small blade pressed into my skin, already bleeding. I could feel the hot tears filling my eyes. My stifled begging was ignored as he looked intently at my bleeding wound. He pushed the blade in deeper, and I screamed harder into his hand. No, don't interrupt. Fuck you. He was panting. I need you to just be silent for this. I cannot physically do that. He reached behind himself to the roll of tape on the table. No, not that fucking tape. I tried to scream again, but was cut off by him slapping the tape quickly over my mouth. I sobbed behind the tape as he settled back into his position around my seeping gut wound. That's okay. He looked over my face for a moment, tilted his head slightly, and then ran a finger over the stream of tears on my cheek. Perfect. He licked his finger and smiled to himself. May I? No. No, you may not. What? I stared at him, trying to decipher what he was asking. Whatever it was, he apparently wasn't going to wait for permission. He pushed his fingers into the wound and I doubled forward, straining against the tape in agony. My eyes widened in horror as he pressed his fingers deeper. He moaned softly as his entire hand entered my body. Jesus! I can feel it. He was half whispering, half sighing the words. Perfect and incomplete in your shell. Well, get out of it. Give me a chance. I wanted to black out. I couldn't handle this. I tried closing my eyes to at least spare myself the image of him digging deeper into my entrails. Without looking, I began to unwillingly focus on the feeling. Above the searing, blinding pain in my abdomen, I could feel a couple of other unsettling sensations. I could feel Lawrence shuddering against me, his heavy breath cooling on the tears streaming down my neck. I felt a sickening, disgusting pressure inside. I dizzily glanced back down. He is elbow deep. He was up to his elbow. It's like a whole new meaning to the phrase, get in them guts, rearrange them guts. The whole scene blurred for a moment as I comprehended him reaching up through my organs. Is he gonna take my heart out? His muffled sobbing, frantic panting, and his ragged breathing were interrupted by his voice. I found it. My ears were starting to hiss and my vision began to darken. I found you. He squeezed it softly and it stopped beating. What is he, the day man? Taking my heart out? Did not like that. Alright, so instead of getting drinks, I'm just gonna chill out. And when they offer me a drink, I'm gonna be like, nah, son, I'm cool. I wasn't in the mood to drink. I just sat by myself and watched the few patrons mill about. Oh, maybe I won't fall asleep this time. Their quiet voices and the clink of glasses on wood made me feel a little sleepy. I lost track of time. Oh, I still fell asleep. You dumb bitch. Wow, it's really late. Yeah. He was starting to look really uncomfortable. I'm just waiting for my friend. Okay. What's up, Bren? You good, man? I'm good. I didn't want to seem rude, but I just met these people. It's really late. I think I should leave, okay? Better luck next time? It's late. Ren left by himself, and I should go to... Ren was different. Yeah. Relax, man. You can always hang out with him later. And I'm going home. I meant to do that on purpose, I swear. Before I could react, his fist connected with my face. I stumbled back, my ears ringing. What the... He started walking towards me as I looked back up in a panic. He's crazy. I stumbled a bit as I tried to run. All the drinks I had earlier in the night were slowing my steps. I didn't have any drinks. What are you talking about? I went in there, and I specifically did not drink. I kept moving. I couldn't hear him behind me. There was an alley to the right. Just let him knock us to the ground. I feel like it's probably going to be best to just drink the spiked drink, because I think that takes away the least amount of health. Okay, so if I rest, it's just gonna get to the point where he rearranges my guts. So let's just try to get out this time. I pulled at the tape around my wrists. I tried to be quiet, but the tape was so tight. It didn't feel like it was budging at all. Keep going, girl. I needed to keep trying. I bit my lip and pulled hard against the tape. Oh, so it seems like it's the same... Yeah, I think it's just the same. Okay. So I guess let's stop. And I still died! God dang it. Let's try screaming in his face. I opened my mouth and screamed as loud as I could. Lawrence leapt forward and clamped his hand over my mouth. He's already gonna kill me. Uh-oh. He stared at me hard as I stopped making noise behind his hand. I need you to be quiet. He slowly removed his hand. Okay? I took in a deep breath to scream again. This time he was faster, slamming one hand hard on my face and the other around my neck. No. He pushed his hand harder around my neck. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't make a sound. I mean, you guys, you know I can't resist. I can't resist just poking the bear. I can't. You have to be quiet. Quiet. He only squeezed tighter. My vision began to spot as I desperately hoped for him to let go. But he never did. I mean, he did eventually, but I just died first. I feel